You get out of Syria and Iraq, if you go to another terrorist group like Boko Haram in northeast Nigeria, you can see hordes of young people roaming the streets with no job, with no purpose, with no, sense of being. Suddenly you come and promise them a source of income, you make them feel important, you make them feel like they are part of a community, and you recruit them. So the core cause is how to get those people out of that hopelessness, how to create opportunities, how to open windows of hope.
And that is precisely the key issue, and I know what the OIC is working to do. It's what the common denominator among all these groups, the youth, the disenfranchised, to your point about socioeconomics. We need groups like yours and others to educate these young people that there are other better ways.
I'm telling you, poverty, that's the main thing that we should be combating. We shouldn't be worried about animals. If you want to protect the elephants in Africa, then you eliminate poverty in Africa, because those people need those tucks to sell so they have money to feed their family. Studies have shown that the greater the economic disparity and problems that the people are having in Africa, the greater the amount of illegal killings of wildlife take place. Eliminate poverty. Let me tell you something that's not known by a lot of people. We mentioned this last week even. There's these Buddhist monks that are attacking Muslims over in Myanmar, in Burma.
These are the people who no one wants and who have nowhere to go. They are the Rohingya, Muslims born in Buddhist Burma, a place where they have the right to nothing. This may look like a refugee camp. In reality, it's more of a ghetto. Men, women and children forced here and held here. Just 15 minutes away beyond the armed police is the town that was once their home. This is ethnic cleansing in 21st century democratic Burma. A year ago, 40-year-old Zadia had a job, a home and a son. Now she has just a tent.
Our house was attacked last June by the Buddhists and the local police. They shot at us and set fire to our house. We had to flee.
Her son was killed, but his body never found. At this camp and at each of the other 32 across the state, the stories are the same. Homes destroyed and communities removed.
Well, we've only been walking a short period of time. Already it's very, very clear to us how basic things are and how many people there are here. 13,000. The sad truth is, this is one of the smallest camps.
The mosque is now a tent and a school. Their only teacher is the imam. Islam Noor is dying. His wife, his son and his daughter spend their final hours with him on the floor of the camp's doctorless clinic. Next door, a tiny life has just begun. Mimi is 12 hours old and we're told doing well. A miracle really in a place like this. But lying next to Mimi and her mother is Sajida. Her baby was stillborn a week ago. This could be grief or agony. Her caesarean section is now horribly infected. There are just 10 beds in this clinic for a camp of 13,000. Outside, through Burma's rains, the roads to the other camps are only just passable. In all of them, the misery is the same. Every few days, boatloads try to leave this and their homeland for anywhere else. Some boats sink, those that don't are turned back. Between the camps, we're shown the site of what we're told are 2 mass graves. It's impossible to verify what the gravedigger tells us, but others have told the same story. One night last June, he said, police trucks dumped scores of bodies here, all unidentified and all with bullet, stab or spear wounds. This is where they probably died, in one of the many Muslim neighbourhoods in the town. They are now just scars, gaps in the landscape. The mosque is a ruin, All of them in this town have been destroyed. The area, still charred from the fires, is now a cut-through for Buddhist communities who still live right next door. Among the most troubling aspects to all this is the accusation that Buddhist monks killed Muslims and incited the whole thing. And at the city's main monastery, an apparent admission that at least half of that is true.
In the killing events, actually Buddhist monks were not included. But in other events, such as organizing our own communities, they mainly involved in their organizing campaigns, for example.
The abbot showed us photographs which he said showed the Muslims attacking them first. One showed a decapitated woman, raped and murdered by Muslims, he claimed. But at the heart of it all is the denial that these people even exist as a race. 3 generations after they arrived here, they are the people who no one will claim.
They're attacking Muslims, these Buddhist priests who are supposed to be some of the most peaceful people in the world. They're attacking Muslims because they feel threatened. Do you know where the majority of these Buddhist priests came from? The Buddhist priests that are young, in their late teens to early 30s. They came. I don't even know if I can say this. I don't even know if I can explain it because it just kills me. Most of those people that are supporting this ridiculous desire to hurt Muslim people, they were deposited in monasteries as children to escape the poverty of their parents or as orphans. And it has created these angry young men who were raised in these monasteries, raised in this, it's sick. That's the real truth. If you are a man especially, and your whole value system, you can't have any kids. That's just how the ball bounces. You can't have any children, and you're trying to attract a woman to you or a mate in any way. The only attraction that one might have is what you can provide. If you have no means of provisions, you have no means to create a value for the individual that you're in love with or you're seeking for that affection, you will seek that out. You put a gun in the hand of a man, especially a man, who is seeking for self-worth, and the moment his finger touches that trigger, he has self-worth. He does. And the more bullets he has, the more powerful his gun, the more self-worth he has. That concept must be changed.
This is Nigeria, Africa's second biggest economy after South Africa. Dubbed the Saudi Arabia of Africa because of its huge oil reserves, Nigeria is a place where poverty should have been a thing of the past. 100 million Nigerians live on less than $1 a day in this country of almost 160 million people. The Nigerian society has gotten so used to the corruption such that everywhere I went, the ordinary citizens talked about it. I witnessed this encounter with a suspected oil smuggler, and the governor's security pounced on him. Fortunately for this man, his truck was carrying water, a sign of how people struggle with getting the basic necessities like running water. And people are asking,
for how many years now?